if you happen to mess with a devotee, it's very bad news for whoever done it. Maybe at some point in your life, you may have made an offense against a devotee. Has it happened? Has Krishna sufficiently punished you? I know he does to me. When I mess around with one of his devotees, due to my arrogance or my ignorance, yes, I've had very, very bad experiences with life when that has happened. So this is actually the epitome of the Shastric story of not to mess with a devotee. So we're going to go through the Nrsingadev pastimes. Before we do, let's just chant our Mangala Charana. Maybe one of you, it's right here. Karth, you want to do this? Oh my god, this thing might not even be worth it.
No.
Yes, Ben says turn it off.
Yeah. So no, just turn it off.
Okay. Who wrapped my cheddar over the mic?
You want the camera turned around?
What's that? No, that's good. And that's, oh, because, so okay, we're just going to do this first. All right. So without further ado, Om Jnana Shavakaya Shri Chaitanya
Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Vishwatarine.
So, begin Manali. Hare Krishna. So, very good day you picked to come here again. I'm really glad we have a very serious group today. Everyone in here is a serious person for Krishna. So that's not always the case, so actually we can probably get deeper today. You guys in? Okay. So we'll see. Let's get up a couple of things here. One, it's just nice to see a quick... why? Because I don't want to miss some, sometimes I'll get into some really deep thing and then I miss the whole kind of most basic foundational thing. So I'm just going to give a little bit of a foundational thing here just to reference myself. So you all know there is don't focus on this too much right now. Maybe I'll leave it unplugged that for now. You all know the Varaha avatar? Yes. So during the Varaha avatar, who was the demon Varaha killed? Does anyone remember?
Hiranyakashipu's brother.
Yes. Hiranyaksha. So Hiranyaksha was killed, and then actually, Hiranyakashipu. Then at that time, he became the mortal enemy of Vishnu. So he was always looking for Vishnu. We're looking for Vishnu. How can we overthrow Vishnu? Who is this Vishnu? So this is actually like the kind of atheist mentality, always trying to overthrow God. So Hiranyakashipu, he was the ultimate atheist. Now, to be fair, Hiranyakashipu is actually coming from the spiritual world, and so is Hiranyaksha. The Lord, every so often, he gets the taste to fight. But in the spiritual world, it's all good there. No one to fight with. No one to fight with in the spiritual world. So actually, what does he have to do? He actually has to come here to the material world to fight. But imagine, if you're like a professional fighter and you want to have a good fight, and then you go to a kindergarten class and you say, all right, where can I get a good fight? You can't get a good fight in the kindergarten class. Maybe someone will bite you. Maybe you can fight all of them at once or something. But even that, it's not going to be a good fight. So actually what the Lord has to do is recruit a devotee to get a good fight. And actually that's so what actually had happened is in the spiritual world, this happened, so a circumstance was created by Yogamaya that Jai and Vijay were to fall from the spiritual world. This is part of the Bhagavatam, you'll find this. And they had to come. So the first time they come, this is a good story, but you might have heard of Diti and Aditi, the wives of Kashyapa. So Kashyapa is like a great sage, and he actually is responsible for fathering much of mankind. And not only just mankind, the demigods, so many things, the demons and so on. So Kashyapa was approached by... Aditi had given birth to many demigods, and Diti also wanted to have children. But she, didn't want to follow all the rules, regulations. She was following her passion. So there's a lot of lessons here. Sometimes, we get very passionate about something, and instead of, think, all right, this is how it should be done, we just go for it. And anyway, Diti just went for it, approached her husband at the wrong time, actually during a sandhya. I'm always telling you guys, wake up during the sandhya, don't sleep in the sandhya. It's a little difficult now, it's getting light very early. But anyway, the evening sandhya, Diti approached her husband, and her husband was trying to tell her, no, wait some time, and Diti was like, no, now is the time. So he, reluctantly agreed. And all these things happened simultaneously with the Lord's devotees wanting to come and play as demons in this world. And actually that's Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. But Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, in order to be great demons, they can't remember that they were devotees to the Lord. So Yogamaya gives a nice curtain, and the pastimes is set. Now, all kinds of inauspicious omens when Diti got pregnant with them, when she came to her senses after the whole act was performed. Now she had to give birth to this child. So, Hiranyakashipu is actually one of those children, and he's you could say, the most prominent. Hiranyaksha got killed by the avatar of Vishnu, Varaha, in the raising of the earth planet. So this is, these almost seem like legendary, fairy tale-like, but there's deeper meanings also to be understood. But the understanding is also we don't really know very much of anything with our very minimal position, so we should not ever assume, these are all just fairy tales and legends to give morals and things like that. We should think, if it says, all right, let me explore the possibility that this could have happened, a history in some realm, some dimension, some way. I won't speak like, yes, this happened in the year 800, and this is a very, very old tale. But nonetheless, the lessons are very relevant, and the teachings are very powerful. And many teachings we follow, like all the 9 processes of bhakti that we follow, was spoken by Prahlad Maharaj during this pastime. So Hiranyakashipu, Hiranya is what? Gold, and Kashipu is Self-betting, yes. So it really, his nickname was given to him through all the gold he had amassed in his great conquest of the universe. And also all of the comforts, self-betting and this and that and the other thing that he had also amassed, pretty much for sex life, so actually these are the gateways to hell, is lust and greed and anger, and he had all three in all kinds of opulence. He was the topmost, most lusty, most greedy, and most angry, actually. So Hiranyakashipu, he did a lot of things, but he was a great meditator too. He realized the way to get success. Does anyone know what brings success in any endeavor, material or spiritual? What's that? Yes. So the word I was looking for is like discipline or austerity. So he did a lot of yogic austerity. He knew, okay, if I have to keep my position and gain power, I must sit there and meditate and maybe attract a demigod, get a boon, things like that. And actually, what he did, he had such an impressive meditation that his entire skeletal frame, all that was left was practically his skeleton. And but he had kept his life airs within the body through his deep yogic meditation, and all the bugs and things over thousands of years had eaten the rest of his body. But he continued with his meditation. And ultimately, what did he get is he finally pleased Brahma. He wanted to attract maybe Brahma, maybe Shiva. So with his intense meditation, Brahma said, okay, please stop this meditation. This is causing you so much harm. But also, when someone takes such a deep austerity, it actually has impact on the whole universe. So Brahma came, and he said, what do you want? I'll give you any boon. So Hiranyakashipu said, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I want to be immortal. I want to not be created by any living being. But Brahma said, I can't do that, actually. I'm not immortal. So how can I give something I don't have? This is also in the Bhagavad Gita. It's recommended why we shouldn't ultimately worship demigods, even though, especially in Indian Vedic culture, it's so prominent, the worship of demigods. But why not to worship demigods? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, actually, anyone who worships demigods are actually just worshipping me, but they're doing so in a wrong way. The worship of demigods is done with material desire. So you're trying to appeal to the demigods. So if you worship demigods, that's why you worship demigods. Oh, well, Lakshmi gives wealth, and I need wealth in my life. So Lakshmi Devi, like this. Right? And Ganesh, Ganesh gives success in business. He'll remove all my obstacles. And Ganesh in the front, please, here. Yes. The Indians, this is funny because this is all of your, if you go any shop, all this is there, right? So ultimately, though, Brahma, he said, I cannot give that. So Hiranyakashipu is very intelligent. He's like, well, okay, if he can't grant me immortality, I can cheat my way to immortality. I'll make it an impossible situation that I'll never be able to be killed, and then I can get all the things that I want in this universe. So he had a pretty good plan, very intelligent plan. Actually, if you read in the Bhagavatam, the 7th canto, you'll actually see Hiranyakashipu is very, very intelligent, very shastrically intelligent. He knows the nature of the soul. He's speaking like such high truth, Siddhanta, Tattva. And what does he do? He says, I don't wish, then grant me the boon that I shall not die inside or outside any residence. And Brahma's like, okay. During the daytime or the night? All right, no problem. On the ground or in the sky? All right. That I may not be killed by, any being created by you. And Brahma created all the living entities in this world. Nor by any weapon, nor by any human being, nor an animal. Indeed, that I not meet death from any entity, either living or non-living, that I have no competitor, that I have sole lordship over all living entities and presiding deities, and that I acquire all mystic powers. So he was just like, really was covering all of his bases. And it seems like a pretty foolproof. If I get that, I'm practically immortal, right? And so he got that. And then, naturally, Hiranyakashipu said, great, I'll do whatever I want now. And he did whatever he wanted. He took whatever he wanted. He conquered heaven. He conquered hell. Everything was his. And he became the greatest terror in the universe. All the demigods would serve him like little, like slaves and everything. He demoralized everybody. So, but this pastime is meant to teach us, even if you get some positions of power corrupts. If you get power, next thing you know, you're going to do all kinds of bad things, because we get intoxicated by it. That's why if you use everything, should be used in the Lord's service. So anyhow, what ended up happening is while he was away meditating, Hiranyakashipu's wife, before he left, he had impregnated her. And at the time while he was away meditating, so he would continue his meditation practices. The demigods who were conquered by him, they said, we have to make a move. We have to do something. Oh, Niranjan, Hare Krishna. Happy Nrsimha Chaturdasi. And Preeti, Hare Krishna. The commencement ended.
Yes, just ended.
Just ended. So hopefully a whole flood of students will come and get the blessings of Nrsimha.
Yes, I came for Narasimha Chaturdasi.
Yes, it's very good. You missed our Nrsimha Arati, but we're going to do one more Nrsimha Bhajan. I saved just at the end, just in case.
Okay.
So, did you catch the Nrsimha Arati? That's okay. Don't worry. We'll get all the blessings at the end. So what was I saying? Oh, his queen, Kayadu. So Kayadu, she had Prahlad in the womb. And so what happened is they captured her. They ransacked. They knew Hiranyakashipu was off meditating. And they said, the kingdom is weak. Let's go and capture what we can and take what we can back, because he was residing in the heavenly kingdoms. So they captured heaven back, and they took his wife, Kayadhu. And Narada, normally in any circumstance, you'd never ever harm a woman and a child. But in war like this, with such an enemy as Hiranyakashipu, Indra and the demigods, they were thinking, it doesn't matter. These rules are not for this time, But Narada Muni, he did not like this at all. You're going to do this to a woman and a child? This is horrible. You can't do this. So Narada Muni, he also is facilitating Leela, everything, all the pastimes in the Bhagavatam. Narada Muni is like the one, he pushes the pastimes forward. He says, no, I'll take care of her. Yes, it's not good. Actually, in her womb is going to be the one that will protect this whole world. He's going to be a great devotee of Vishnu. And so who is that? Prahlad, yes. So Prahlad is in the womb. He said, he's the one. Give her to me, and I will come and I will instruct her in my ashram. So the demigods, they trust Narada to say, okay, you take her. And she went with Narada, and she was in Narada's ashram for a very long time. Years of the demigods and the demons in that realm, it's much greater, They live for hundreds of thousands of years. We live for 100 years. So a little bit of time with the demigods, that's our whole life already. So she stayed with him for what to us would be in an unimaginable amount of time. And Narada was reciting the Bhagavatam, the core tenets of the Bhagavatam, what we now know as the Bhagavatam. So for many, many thousands of years, this baby in the womb, which is why if someone were to get pregnant, the ideal is that the mother and the child should do spiritual activities. The reason, all the Western people were telling us, don't go to India, don't do so many things, when my wife was pregnant, and we were just like, yeah, but Prahlad Maharaj, yeah, we better go, so we went and did what we could just for the benefit of the baby. And look at such a good baby this one is. You hear? Incredible. Yeah, so he wants to also hear Bhagavatam. This is very good. If he heard in the womb, I remember Priti was coming, and when he was in the womb, and now he's out of the womb also still hearing. So this is proper. So Prahlad Maharaj, he heard the best, he got great instructions from Narad Muni for like thousands of years. So next thing you know, Hiranyakashipu, he comes back from his meditation tour. And he's, where's my wife? What are these pesky little demigods? What have they done? And so he recovers his wife, and he recovers, and Narada says, I've taken care of your wife. Dushyant, you're back. I didn't even know you left. And Monya, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, come, we're doing not Hiranyakashipu. We're doing Nrsingadev Katha. So, Hiranyakashipu Katha. Let's try not to do this type of Katha. But he's related to Nrsingadev, so.
We're doing that most days.
So he got his wife back, and then his wife gave birth to Prahlad. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm realizing this in my life. When you have progeny, you become very attached to it. Actually, we had a long day yesterday, and my wife was holding my son. And I'm like, you're always hugging my son. Let me hold my son last night. And I was, and I had my son on my chest. And I was like, yes, this is my son. And then Krishna just wanted to teach me a little lesson. He spit up on me, and he ruined my shirt. And I said, okay, no problem. And then I said, no, but I want to have affection with my son. And then he peed on me, and then he ruined my pants. And then I realized, I said, okay, I should not be so attached to my son. Maybe I should go back to chanting. So I have many rounds to complete. So anyway, Hiranyakashipu also very attached to his son. But what ended up happening, so he wanted to raise his son to be a very, very powerful, he wanted to raise his son to be a very powerful demon, actually. Oh, Craig. Happy Nrsinga Chaturdasi. Happy Nrsinga Chaturdasi. Jai. So yeah, like this. So naturally, he's trying to get Prahlad the best education that Prahlad can get in his mind. Just like we're kind of like we steal. We take nice students, and a lot of the parents, they want their students to get big jobs and big money and all these things, and then we bring the students here, and then all the students, they don't want big jobs and big money anymore, and they want to like worship God and things like that. So we're kind of like the agents of Vishnu here. But actually, naturally, Hiranyakashipu, demonic types of influence, they want big jobs, big money, and then lots of comforts for sex life. That's it. So naturally, all of this, Hiranyakashipu wanted Prahlad to be educated in this. But Prahlad already got educated. He had thousands of years of Bhagavat training, in the womb. But nonetheless, he was very, very sufficiently educated. So Prahlad didn't want, Hiranyakashipu, he had all of his, the sons of Shukracharya, who's the planet Venus. It's also the planet that has the worst influence in my astrological chart. Me and Shukra have beef for whatever reason. I don't know what I've done, but I must have offended him. But Hiranyakashipu's prime teachers, educators of Prahlad, were Shukracharya's sons, and they're trying to, educate Prahlad on all of the worldly sciences, military, politics, all of these things, socioeconomics, and all these things. How to, pretty much the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas. How to maximize your karma. How to get the best money and sex and all this thing that you can want. So Prahlad Maharaj, though, he was not interested in this at all. And so his teachers were a little kind of disturbed by this. Hey, we're trying to educate this guy, but he's I don't know. He talks about weird stuff. So anyway, Hiranyakashipu, he says, my dear son, please tell me about your favorite subject matter in school. And actually, this verse is very famous. You might know this verse. There's Prahlad Maharaj. He says, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. So he starts talking about his favorite subject matter is about the processes of approaching the Lord. He's giving the 9 main processes of Vaidhi Bhakti. And so that's what actually we're inviting you guys here to do, starting with Shravanam. Come and hear about Krishna. Hear the mantra. And then Kirtan, do the mantra, chant the mantra with us. Also Kirtan, you can all tell these stories actually. We have a nice devotee boy here. Maybe you guys know him. You know Michael? Yes. Look at someone like Michael. Do you know how Michael got inspired to, do this whole Krishna conscious thing? So, what's that?
His father.
Yes, Craig was giving him, giving Kirtanam. He was sharing about Krishna when Michael was a small boy. And it was, yes, and so Michael did some Shravanam when he was young, and then just when he was ripe, at some point, he went a little bit into Maya and got tossed and turned a little bit, and the next thing you know, he's, oh no, I think I'm going to try Krishna. And then he really, really, really took to it. Why? Because the process began at a very young age. Dushan, Hare Krishna. You want to come celebrate with Nrsimha, or you're tired?
He twisted his leg, so we're just picking him up to rest for a bit.
Okay, no problem. So,
Thank you.
no problem. So yes, he starts telling him about the 9 processes of bhakti, and he starts telling him about Vishnu worship and how this is the ultimate goal of life. Everything else is like a waste of time and pretty much the last thing here on Hiranyakashipu, because he's telling him everything that you value sucks. But everything that you value, kind of like, anyone who's a devotee, sometimes they have like a little issue, with maybe their parents aren't liking what they're doing, or maybe their friends, or everyone is just... Why? Because they're just saying, I just want to worship Krishna now. I just want to do devotional life. I don't care about money. I don't care about and everyone's just like, how could you... They get offended. How could you not care about these things? These are the most important things of life. So this is naturally Hiranyakashipu is furious. He even threw Prahlad from his lap onto the ground. And, so many things. At first, Hiranyakashipu said, no, let's try and save him. Let's go get him a better education. So, they really tried to hammer it down at school. And Prahlad, he would do everything he was told. He's a good devotee. He's okay. And why? Because he always is trusting. Krishna is putting me in the exact place I need to be. At all times. So Prahlad, he took his lumps, and he forced him into material education, and he jumped through all the hoops that they told him to. But then, the kids would get recess. And so at recess, the boys, they maybe eat some lunch, and they get to pal around, and next thing you know, and then Prahlad, his friends are, they're talking about what they're getting educated on and what they care about. And he's like, oh, no, friends. This silly stuff. You should hear about devotion to Vishnu. So then Prahlad starts going in elaborate. And if you read these chapters in the Bhagavatam, they're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful teachings. Telling about the main goal of life, and if you have this human form of life, don't waste your time. Be a devotee of the Lord. You only have this rare opportunity. All these things are temporary. All the things that we tell you, Prahlad is telling in a very elaborate, wonderful way. So if you don't, I wish we could get into it a bit more, but there's only so much time for the pastime. So anyway, Prahlad is educating sufficiently all the demonic boys. And then now, naturally, all the other boys are, ooh, this worship of Vishnu, this sounds pretty good. So they're getting influenced by Prahlad. So now the teachers, they come back, and then they're hearing, well, what is going on with everything? And then they find out it's Prahlad. He's the one doing this. So now they're... and also Hiranyakashipu, he's not someone, if he hires someone to do a job like these teachers, you better do the job. He's the big boss man of the universe. And so Prahlad, he's supposed to be getting trained. So now they're freaking out. He's going to kill us. We're supposed to educate him this way, and he's doing something else. So then they start blaming Prahlad. I don't know where this boy is saying, we're not teaching him this. We're teaching him this, and this. I swear, this is the curriculum. But he must somehow or other... and also remember, Hiranyakashipu hates Vishnu. Because Vishnu killed his brother Hiranyaksha. So he hates Vishnu. He doesn't want to hear anything about the God of the universe. There's a controlling God. He believes in destiny. That's also a form of God, like it's kind of, you ever meet some of these people, they don't want to, admit that there's any type of controlling entity, but they're like, yeah, but the universe has spoken to me in this way, and the universe is leading me here and that and the other thing. It's also a type of realization of the impersonal aspect of God, which is why impersonalism is such a dangerous thing. But anyhow, Hiranyakashipu was very, very angry to hear this Vishnu. Why does he keep talking about him? He is our enemy. He is a demon. So actually, he started to conspire. Okay, kill him. He's an enemy to the family. We should just get rid of him. Actually, he's no good anymore. We tried to save him. We tried to mold him properly, but he somehow is influenced by the enemy. Let's kill him. So they would try and kill Prahlad. But very interesting thing, maybe take him boiling oil, a pit of snakes, stab him, everything that they can do, but he was just immune and impervious. He would just sit there and pray. And he would just always trust, Vishnu will take care of me. Vishnu will take care of me. And guess what? Vishnu will take care of him. So this is a lesson in our life. There's sometimes we run into trouble. Sometimes it seems like we're surrounded by a pit of snakes. Sometimes it seems like the world's crashing on it. Everyone wants to kill us. Everyone hates us. There's so many things that can happen to you in the material world. But you just, he was completely surrendered to the Lord. Completely surrendered to the Lord. Unfortunately, we're not surrendered to the Lord. And then we'll get punished for not being surrendered to the Lord. But he was quite surrendered, and even if all of the agents of evil trying to punish him, hurt him, they could not touch him. If Krishna wants to save someone, no one can kill him. And if Krishna wants to kill someone, he cannot be saved. So at this point, Hiranyakashipu, he had his head on the wanted list, and Prahlad, he had his head on the saved list. There was no killing Prahlad, and there was no saving Hiranyakashipu at this point. So Hiranyakashipu just kept making offenses more and more and more. Kept messing with his son, kill him this way, kill him this way. And he's, actually, there's a very nice pastime of how the origin of Holi, the holy time, why they call Holi. Hiranyakashipu had his sister, Holika, try to burn Prahlad. And there's a whole story. But instead, she got burned. And so this happened at the holy time, and this is celebrated by that. I remember one time we were in Kargon, and we went to a big, during holy time, a big bonfire of cow dung. It was a huge bonfire of cow dung, and we were circling the fire and chanting and dancing. We were very happy. But this also happened during this time of Hiranyakashipu trying to kill Prahlad. But he kept making offenses. We have to be very careful. If we offend the devotees only want to help us, and we, become very adamant with our own selfish desires, and in that, so you're getting in my way, leave me alone, and we start, offending the devotees. Our time we are shortening our lifespan. We're shortening any good, any prosperity that we can ever have in our life. We're shortening and shortening and shortening. So Hiranyakashipu's sands were running out of his hourglass, so to say. So then, one time, Hiranyakashipu, he tried to... Meghna, you made it back. Nishingadev answered your prayers. So he tried to plead with Prahlad one more time. And he's saying, you saying that there is a being superior to me. But where is he? Where is this Vishnu? You're saying that there's a controller, he's controlling everything. If he is present everywhere, then why is he not present in this pillar right here? He's very angry when he's saying, do you think he is in the pillar? And Prahlad said, yes, of course he's in the pillar. So Hiranyakashipu got very angry. You speak so much nonsense. I'm going to sever your head from your body right now. let me see your worshipable God come to protect you. So he was ready, instead of sending his servants to kill him, he was ready to personally kill his own son, which he did not want to do. Because it's his own, like I couldn't imagine me being the one to kill my son. How horrible, So, what does he do? He punched the pillar. Where is your God? But then something very bad, very crazy happened, actually. Very, very crazy. There was like a sound like a thunderbolt. And then a giant roar. And then a giant man-lion came out of the pillar. And that's Lord Nrsingadev. So now Hiranyakashipu, who he's the strongest, meanest, baddest guy in the universe. But now he is seeing, oh no. Is this Vishnu? So then he attacks. He attacks this gigantic lion man, and then there's a battle. So maybe I'll read this description here. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue. And then Narasimha and Hiranyakashipu, they began to battle. And it was... Yes, right here. Well, this one is there a... This is when he kills him. Is there a battle scene?
Yeah.
Yes, and they're battling like this. And Nrsingadev versus Hiranyakashipu. And, this is the scene right here. And then finally at twilight, remember Hiranyakashipu, he was so confident because he had all kinds of boons. He's like, well, I still got my boons from Brahma. I'm set. So for whatever reason, he didn't realize this was the end for him. And so what happens at twilight, Narasimha captured Hiranyakashipu and placed him in the lap on the doorway of the assembly hall. Remember, he outside, inside. He can't be killed. So he's in the doorway. So neither. And he began ripping the demon to pieces with his many, many hands. Remember, he couldn't be killed by weapons. He couldn't be killed by animals. He couldn't be killed by humans, demigods, or any living being within this world. But Vishnu is transcendental to this material. Any living being created by Brahma, well, Vishnu created Brahma. So all of these things, all of the boons, Nrsingadev, he canceled out every single one. And Craig, your art book is coming in great seva right now.
What?
Your art book is coming in great seva, as a great seva.
Sure.
Yes. Your gift. And he's ripped Hiranyakashipu's intestines out, and he garlanded himself with the intestines of Hiranyakashipu. How wonderful. But actually, this is a little bit of a statement. And what we're going to do next, we're actually going to read some prayers. There's a lot of symbology here, because Hiranyakashipu, we're all little Hiranyakashipus. We all want to dominate the world. We all want to dominate and be the sole proprietor, the sole enjoyer. This is the tendency of the material world. This is what we've been trying to do for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. For whatever reason, everyone has come to Vishnu in some way or shape or form here in this room. Or you would not choose to do this on graduation day, commencement day. Some of you, maybe it's just Sunday, regular Sunday. But this is a very special day. And this is a great day because this is a representation also. The reason that Vishnu will come in this form, he's going to teach us, one, what to not put our faith on. We're not trying to get powers and boons and temporary arrangements. I'm the big business mogul. Maybe you're Elon Musk or one of these guys who's so rich and has all these things. These aren't the things to get. They'll get ripped away from us. And even if you want to try and hold on to it, the Lord Himself will come. Even if you try and cheat the system and get all kinds of boons, you become the greatest yogi and meditator, and the Lord will arrange such a way that everything that you get will be taken from you by force. And so Hiranyakashipu, he thought he had a foolproof plan. You cannot outplan God. You cannot trick God. If God has a plan, it's going to come, So either you get with God's plan, that's smart, or you try and work it out, and this is God ripping out your plans and garlanding his neck with your plans. Don't make your own plans. Serve the Lord's plans. So anyhow, Hiranyakashipu had great plans for Hiranya, gold, and Kashipu. Great comfort. Hare Krishna Rajiv. It's Nishinga Chaturdasi, so we're doing Katha of Lord Nishinga Dev. If you want, you're welcome to join. If you need, yes. No, you look very handsome, by the way. So very good. So yes, what ended up happening though is the Lord was so fearful, so fearsome in this form, and he just tore Hiranyakashipu to shreds. But then all of a sudden though, all the demigods gather there, they're celebrating, oh, Hiranyakashipu is finally dead. Just like, I don't want to say this is not a good example, but it's actually sad, where if the President of the United States were to die, there would be a great portion of the country who would be celebrating, yes, he's dead! Or like, I don't know, the Wizard, you ever watch The Wizard of Oz? And they're all like, the witch is dead, the witch is dead! And they're all like, like celebrating. So this actually, all the demigods, they were celebrating that that Hiranyakashipu is dead. But then there's a new problem. There's this really, really angry lion, man thing with blood all over him, and he's roaring and he's fearsome, and it's a big problem. So Lakshmi said, well, this is my husband Vishnu, so they said, you should go. But Lakshmi was terrified. I've never seen him like this. I'm not going anywhere near him like this. No way. So they're saying, Brahma, you're a great devotee. Nope, no way. I'm not going anywhere near him like that. So then, they're going back and forth, Shiva, everyone, and then they finally said, Prahlad, you have to go. He came here for you. He came to protect you. So Prahlad goes, and he starts reciting these beautiful prayers. Find it in the Bhagavatam. I wish, I wish I could verbatim tell you all the prayers. I'm not like that. But there are some people. Actually, I remember one of the last times Prem Prayojan Prabhu was here. He gave a very nice recitation of some of the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. And so maybe we can ask him about that when he comes here soon. But anyhow, he recites these beautiful prayers that, devotees, if we study and learn these prayers, or even, just read the prayers, we can get inspired in the right way. And so Prahlad is a pure devotee. And he actually pacifies Lord Narasimha. And Lord Narasimha gives him affection, actually places his paw on his head and then sits Prahlad on his lap. I don't think that might not be. Nope, that's not in the book. But, yes, and he becomes Shanti like our Nrsingadev here. This is after everything is done. Actually, usually Nrsinga is worshipped in his Ugra form. Like if you go to Mayapur, Ugra is angry. If you go to Mayapur, he's very, very angry and fearsome. But ultimately, though, that my wife is saying, speak louder. Oh, too late. That's 40 minutes ago. What to be done? But I want to share with you guys some things that Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays. Some people argue, well, we worship Radha and Krishna, and even Lord Radharani, the glimmer from her toenail is more powerful than thousands of Nrsingadevs. It actually is true. Actually, this is said in the Shastra that the emphasis should be. But actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving emphasis on what we can pray for on Nishinga Chaturdasi. So I'll read from him. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written 5 beautiful prayers in the Sri Navadvip Bhava Taranga for receiving the mercy of Lord Nrsinga. These prayers are certainly assurance to all sincere devotees that the worship of Lord Nrsinga is purely in the line of aspiring love and devotion to Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. And those prayers are as follows. So he wants to confirm that worship of Nrsinga, actually even Srila Prabhupada, when he's, in our line, all Lord Chaitanya and his devotees, they would worship Lord Nrsinga, but once the emphasis was put on Radha and Krishna, not many people wanted to worship Vishnu in his seemingly lower avatar forms. They want to worship in Radha and Krishna worship. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur is actually showing what we should meditate on. So he says, do I want to read that part? Maybe I'll try. Edushta hridaya kama adi ripuchaya kuti nati pratishtasa satyasararaya hridaya sodana ara krishna vasana nirsimha charane mora eto kamana. He says, within my sinful heart, the 6 enemies headed by lust perpetually reside, as well as duplicity, the desire for fame, plus sheer cunning. You know these things, duplicity, meaning like saying one thing in the heart, something else is there. The desire for fame, I want to be recognized. These are all false ego traps. Yes, look at me, all things like that. Sheer cunning, trying to, be really tricky with getting your way. I'm going to manipulate the situation. I'll tell this person this, I'll tell this person this, and next thing you know, I'm going to get what I want, At the lotus feet of Lord Narasimha, I hope that he will mercifully purify my heart and give me the desire to serve Lord Krishna. So he actually begging Lord Nrsimha to come within the sinful heart and clear the way so that it can worship Lord Krishna. And then he says, Kandi Nrsimha pade magibo kakana, nida pade navadvipe jugala bhajana. Baya paya yanra darshane sehari, prasana ho ibokabe moridaya kari. Weeping, I will beg at the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimha for the benediction of worshipping Radha and Krishna in Navadvip, perfectly safe and free from all difficulties. When will this Lord Hari, whose terrible form strikes fear into fear itself, ever become pleased and show me his mercy? So actually the devotees, it's recommended that we actually worship Nrsimha to lead us to Radha and Krishna. That we have very impure. Anyone who thinks, "Oh no, I'm pure," you're less pure actually. Like you need more work. They say that thing for someone. They talk about the benefits of meditation. And they say, if someone says, I don't have enough time for meditation, so you actually need even more time. Everyone else could meditate for 15 hours a day, but since you say you have no time for meditation, you need an hour a day. So someone who says, oh no, I'm good, I'm pure, I don't have any problems, I'm a pure soul. You need way more work than most people if you say like that. So yes.
I was going to say, even like Western psychologists, like it's in a lot of Jung's work as well, the most dangerous person is the person who thinks that they don't have a shadow or a dark side,
yes.
Something to work on.
Yes, this is a very dark thing. But it's like a narcissism, But actually this is very bad. So you should understand, we have a sinful heart. We have lust, we have greed, we have anger, we're duplicitous. We have some desire for recognition. We're cunning. We try to get our way and manipulate. But we should beg Lord Nrsimha to come clear the way so that I can get rid of these things, so I can actually do real bhajan. I can actually worship Radha and Krishna. Because right now I'm just trying to enjoy. I'm trying to enjoy and I'm trying to be the master. So this is not good. So who can help? Lord Nrsimha can help. Look what he has done with such a character such as this. And look what he does for those who are pure in heart, like Prahlad. So, he says, Yadyapi bhishana murti dushta jiva prati Prahlad Krishna bhakti Krishna bhakta jani padra ati Kabe for prasana hoye sakripa vachane Nirbhaya kari be'i muda akinchane. He says, even though Lord Nrsimha is terrifying toward the sinful souls, he offers great auspiciousness unto the devotees of Lord Krishna, headed by Prahlad Maharaj. When will he be pleased to speak words of compassion unto me, a worthless fool, and thereby make me fearless? So, for those who are sinful, he's terrifying. God he's terrifying. For those who are sinful, you'll live terrified, because you're going to have to pay for your activities. But for one who's a devotee of the Lord, You can rejoice at seeing God. Like Prahlad, he has nothing to fear. Even if someone's trying to stab you or throw you in burning oil or throw you off a cliff or put you in a pit of snakes, the Lord will protect me. This is one of the symptoms of Sharanagati, or surrender to the Lord. Krishna will always protect me. He'll always maintain me. Whatever Krishna likes, no problem. So these things have to be, ideally, are cultivated. So he'll offer you great auspiciousness to the devotees of Lord Krishna. So when will you be pleased to speak words of compassion unto me, a worthless fool? Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not a worthless fool. He's a genius, actually. But because he's a genius, he knows that his position as a jiva in this material world is that of a worthless fool. If you don't think you're a worthless fool, or if you can't acknowledge that, we're in trouble. We're still quite sinful. We still it's a healthy humility. It's healthy, actually, because such a person can actually enter the devotional realm. If you think you're so great, or oh, look at me, look what I've got, then you'll always be fearful that it's going to be taken away from you, all those things. Because it will, actually. You're right. But I'll explain. When he says, thereby, when will you make me fearless? And then he says, Svachande baiso he vatsa shri gauranga dame jugala bhajana hau rati hau name mama bhakta kripa bale vignaja bedura sudha chite bhajo radha krishna rasa pura. He will say, dear child, sit down freely and live happily here in Sri Gauranga Dham. May you nicely worship the divine couple, and may you develop loving attachment for their holy names. By the mercy of my devotees, all obstacles are cast far away. With a purified heart, just perform the worship of Radha and Krishna, for such worship overflows with sweet nectar. And the last verse is, Ei boli kabimora mastaka upada, sviya shrichara harshe dadibe ishwara, amani jugala prime satvika vikade, Daraya tipo ami Sri Narasimha dware. Saying this, will that Lord delightedly place his own divine lotus feet upon my head. I will experience sublime love for the divine couple, Radha and Krishna, and undergo the ecstatic transformations called sattvika, which is like the sattvic bhavs. When will tears arise? When will my hair stand on end? When will my voice choke at the recitation? We chant this in Shikshastakam, right? So falling on the ground, I will roll about at the door of Sri Nrsimha's temple. So this is, for those who maybe you have a little bit of a focus in your right now, in the beginning, we're just trying to figure out that, who am I? Why am I suffering? Who is God? What's the meaning of life? But when you maybe get a little deeper into this, you might have more of a focus. And let's say your focus is on, say, Radha and Krishna, which is what our acharyas tell us to focus on. But even so, on days like today, on Nrsimha's appearance day and so on, this is the way the Lord is coming to help pave the way. And so Lord Nrsimha is paving your heart so that actually Radha Krishna worship can happen. Your eternal position in the spiritual world can be revealed. But if we have this sinful heart where the six enemies headed by lust reside, if we have duplicity where we say one thing and, in the mind we're thinking another thing. We want recognition, pratishta it's called, or pride, or we're cunning or a bit manipulative. We should really approach Nrsimha on this day. And that's ultimately, and He will bless us. He will bless us. It's guaranteed. Anyone who sincerely approaches the Lord and asks Him to remove these terrible aspects of our conditioned nature, He will do it. That's His promise. But are we sincere? Do we actually want those things to go away? We have to actually. All it is actually is desire. Do you desire that to go away? Do you really want to live a pure life? Because sometimes you're offered choices. You might have heard something, or you might, this is the pure way to do this thing. but then that looming desire, but I want this, you know. There's a couple examples in my life. One of them is charity, you know. That one's a one for me. You know, sometimes there's really proper things that we should donate for, you know. Like, you know, in my life, I'm right now it's very relevant, you know, because I want all these boys to get initiated, you know. It's a very good thing. But naturally, some expenses are there. You have to have a havan, you have to, you know, give dakshin to the priest, dakshin to the guru. Some things are there. So in my life, I'm personally experiencing, you know, like, okay, well, money is tight in our lives, but, you know, one, the birth of my son is there, and Vasudev, he's given thousands of cows when Krishna was born. So what should I give? And then naturally this thing came up, so I said, no, I should sponsor this. So actually, I'm making it, but that's my conviction. But it's amazing how the false ego can want to justify. No, that's not so important, or no, you need the money for this thing, you need the money for that thing, or, you know, so many things can happen in the heart, in the mind. But actually, you know, the Lord is always revealing what the right thing to do. He's given me the scriptural examples. He's always giving me that thing. So if I have good sense, I'll do it, which is what my hope is, to actually do it. I will do it. That's my conviction. Also for the birth of my son, it's auspicious for him. But there's many things like this. We'll be faced with many choices. What should I really do? What should I really do? What is the devotional thing to do? And then there's the other side of things. But I want this, or, you know, and they will contradict, and you will have to choose. You know, do I choose? And if you choose the wrong thing, really, we're not letting it's a reflection of, we're not letting God in there. Instead, our heart is crowded with all kinds of other things. But if we let Nrsimha enter our heart, he will clear the way. He will not let any of these things stay. So when you hear about Nrsimha's pastimes, and you hear about the glories of Prahlad, and I did not do it justice, I only gave like some small thing today. But if you actually go through the Bhagavatam and intensely study this pastime, and hear Prabhupada's purports, you're hearing the reflections of the pure devotee present this pastime. It'll have a huge transformation on your heart. So if you're actually interested in purifying the heart, you can go through this pastime. Lord Chaitanya, he would oftentimes, especially in Navadvip when he was first performing his pastimes, he would like to hear over and over again this pastime of Prahlad and Nrsimha and the pastime of Dhruv Maharaj. Why? And he's actually setting the example, because if we still have material desires in our heart, we should learn about Dhruv Maharaj, which shows how to use one's material desires and dovetail it to Krishna, which is what Dhruv Maharaj did. And then also Prahlad Maharaj, which is even more advanced, is to get rid of the material desires altogether. So these things have to be done. If you even want any chance of worshipping Radha and Krishna, or going back to Godhead, or doing anything like this, you can't go there contaminated by the material modes of nature. So if that's still in your consciousness at death, you will go. That means you still have a material subtle body, and that material subtle body carries your soul to another material situation. The subtle body has to be completely disintegrated, meaning there's no tinge of the modes of nature left for you to actually go to a spiritual abode. It has to be completely disintegrated. And that can only happen through the Lord's mercy, actually. It cannot be done by us. We're not the doer of anything. We can make an endeavor. We're not only can, we should. We should make every endeavor. But the other part of it is Krishna has to give his mercy. And how is he giving his mercy? He gives it through the Vaishnava. He's giving through the Vaishnava, sadhu, the Shastra, and ultimately Guru. When one gets very fortunate, you'll get a teacher. And there's different types of gurus. Bhagavatam explains them. So anyhow, Lord Nrsimha, yes, please.
Even the misery is considered, isn't that also considered mercy as well?
Yes, it is absolutely mercy, because it's going to eventually lead us to the realization that me taking this path is not good. Me continuously taking this path of lust, greed, anger, gluttony. What's that verse? The second verse of over endeavoring, caring about worldly things, desiring all kinds of mundane achievements, all these nonsense things. Misery is the perfect remedy so that you eventually get the hint, all right, this is not working. So, but even Prahlad, every one of us would be very miserable if we were thrown into a pit of snakes, or someone wanted to dip us in burning oil, or someone wanted to throw us off a cliff, or, yes, all these things. Stab us with like all of the finest weapons. Every one of us, it's a very miserable situation. But actually, in such pure devotion, he was completely in bliss, and nothing happened to him, because you cannot be harmed in pure devotion to the Lord, actually. But it requires faith. It requires hearing about a past time like this. Yes, misery is... Everything is the Lord's mercy, actually. That's what it means. And then, when we... even when we chant Shri Advaita, what is Advaita? Advaita is the understanding that everything is God. Now, we shouldn't just, okay, well, if everything is God, then I'm just going to do whatever I want because I'm associating with God. Because there's many people, that's what they like to do. But you can do that, but God's great mercy, well, He'll give you misery for those things. For the things that are like the less developed parts of God, like for instance, everyone is going to eat prasadam at the end of this. Meghna, will you eat prasadam? No, actually, it's good. There is the option to fast until sunset today, because it's Nrsimha's appearance day. So a lot of times people break the fast at that time. So, but if you're not committed to fasting, naturally you'll eat prasadam. So, so everyone, will eat the prasadam here. But what if I said, well, hold on, there's one more dish, and then I went into the bathroom and I scooped out something I found in the toilet? Well, who will take? No, that's much better. I'll take the prasad. I'll take this. I'm not taking this dish, this hard dish that you just served. Everyone would be horrified. But this is the equivalent of taking that Advaita consciousness. Oh, everything is God. Yes, everything is God. But there are tiers on how to associate with God's glory. If you want to roll around in poop, no problem. You can get a pig body. Perfect. So anyway, but actually this is what Advaita consciousness is. You're always absorbed in understanding that everything is the Lord's plan. So even if circumstances are there, you're just trying to worship the Lord like Prahlad, and they want to throw you in a pit of snakes, you have to trust. All right, Krishna is going to protect me. There's a famous story in the Bible. You've heard about Daniel in the lion's den, right? Daniel actually he had a vegetarian diet, and he fasted and everything, and he prayed, and he was going to be thrown in the lion's den, and then he went in the lion's den, but he trusted God, and then the lions were nice to him. And so, same thing with Prahlad. He got thrown in this pit and that thing and like this, and just nothing could happen. Why? Because he's a pure devotee of the Lord. So, I'm not just going to tell you, just be a pure devotee. No, it's not necessarily so easy. But we can beg, especially on this day, that Nrsimhadev, he comes within our heart and he rips apart, our lust, our duplicity, our desire for fame or recognition, our manipulative nature. All these things, put them to the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadev, and see what comes. So like this. So any other questions or final thing? Yes, Craig.
Isn't it also that a pure devotee realizes that their spirit soul, which can't be harmed in any way, so that even if something would happen to their body, that's not an issue.
Well, that's why he could be fully comfortable, because he had no bodily consciousness at all. He had nothing but Krishna consciousness. So and even if the body which we're in, gets harmed, he wouldn't care. He would accept it. He would tolerate it, and he would be happy. But yes, he does know that. He was instructed by Narad Muni for many thousands of years on just this type of knowledge. So there's no need for a devotee to fear. Even if you're put in the most incredible difficulty you can imagine, actually, the devotee does not need to fear, because they're always in connection with God. Actually, everyone has nothing to fear. We all fear death. We all fear everything. But, like, as you just said, the soul is unharmed. Krishna, he begins Bhagavad Gita with this teaching. The soul can't be cut, it can't be burned, it can't be overcome by water and all these things, drowned, nothing. So if you know that, nothing. And ultimately, even so, if you're acting purely in trying to serve the Lord, like Prahlad, he'll even protect your body. Your body is a useful tool for him, no problem. But that's not us, right? Where we have a different thing. So, is that good? Peter, you had a question?
Why do we pronounce Narasimha?
Yes, I also, I don't know actually, but apparently it's always been pronounced Nrsimha, but from what I understood, the English transliteration came with an M, Narasimha, but it's just, I've been saying it wrong for years.
Isn't the M with the dot though supposed to be pronounced G?
Yes, but what I'm saying is who put the M with the dot there and why they did that, I don't know what kind of system that is, the Roman transliteration, where that comes from.
All the years it's always been the Shringa.
Yeah, so it's, but that's the correct pronunciation, because I was reading Narasimha, I was also saying, yes, so another Devotee emphasized that with me, so I said, what's that?
That is actually Narasimha.
Yeah.
Singha means lion and Nara means man.
Yes.
That's Narasimha.
Yeah, Nrsimha, everyone, there's different dialects pronounced all over the place. The main thing is we're talking about all the same guy. Even if you're saying Narasimha, no problem. You're all talking about the same God. We're just trying to approach God. So, is that the only question, Peter? Yes. Anything last thing before we do one more bhajan for Nrsimha?
Just a quick observation. I've been thinking about this since you were talking about, like, we get attached to money and stuff,
Yes.
I'm thinking of Bill Gates, he's like, worth $100 billion, and I was reading where he's gonna donate it all to world hunger, but not for 20 years,
Yeah.
When he would be he'd be almost dead by then, but he's still gonna enjoy his billions up until then. But it's just like if you can accept that in the moment, I guess you got 20 years of really free living, you let go of the stuff,
We always need a little backup. Warren Buffett's
Yeah. So I mean, there is a way to responsibly manage money. There is a way to responsibly manage money, but at the same time, it really depends on your surrender. Where there's often all kinds of, like for instance, Yudhishthir in the Mahabharata, when he got implicated in the gambling match, he was ready. He was the richest man in the world, and he was ready to put everything he owned, including his own brothers and wife, on the line for a higher principle or a higher cause. So it really depends on the values you have. Now, I happen to have looked into Bill Gates, and I'm not so thrilled with his values. I think he has frightening values for the world, actually. But anyway, Krishna will arrange all that. I definitely won't be subscribing to anything he's putting out there, that's for sure. But anyhow, yeah, it actually doesn't make sense, actually, especially for the billionaires, have so much. Yeah, unless you can use it in Krishna's service, it's not valuable, actually. It's something that you'll become more and more attached to, and it'll just be harder to give up when it is time. Because it's going to... Yes, Peter.
I hate to go off topic, but with Yudhishthir, did he gamble because a Shaiksha is not supposed to turn down a challenge or something? I was so
Yes,
confused.
that was part of it, and also because he was encouraged by his uncle Dhritarashtra, who was the king. And so it was his dharma and he was Dharmaraj, it was his dharma to do that. Even though, gambling is seen as more like a lower class activity, something you wouldn't do, but due to the circumstance, he felt it was his dharma, and he was kind of like Prahlad Maharaj, where he's like, all right, even though they're going to cheat me out of everything, I have to be willing to give everything up, in this circumstance.
It's the same thing as Arjuna and Krishna saying, no, you go and you have to kill your family and guru and all that stuff.
Yes.
Because that's what I'm telling you has to happen.
Yes, yes. Even though it's not a pleasant thing, nobody in the world would want to do these things. Actually, there are circumstances where the devotee will do anything for the Lord. But it has to actually be for the Lord rather than our own concocted idea. I mean, there's lots of what do you call them, cults who have done crazy things in the name of doing it for the Lord, but I don't know how they concocted that the Lord wanted that, but anyhow, yes. Anything else? Okay, you guys want to do a prayer to Lord Narasimha?
Aye.
Yes, so you would...
Oh, no, sorry.
Yes, you're saying yes, Haribol. All right, so thank you. Again, especially, just to kind of summarize, the whole pastime, one, devotion to the Lord is the only thing we really should be focusing on. Other demigod, in this pastime we learned other demigod worship, even Lord Brahma, even though he is great, even a great devotee of the Lord, ultimately our devotion should be unto the Lord, and anything we get from any other means, it's all at risk, actually. But ultimately, also, from Hiranyakashipu's side, he turned against a devotee. We should never do this. We should always offer all kinds of respect and love to the devotees. This is a very, very important thing. If you ever harbor any ill will or anything towards the devotees, that's a very, very bad idea. And Narasimha could rip out your intestines if he really wants to. I don't think that's necessarily... We're not as bad as Hiranyakashipu, but I've seen this many times. I've seen this many times in my life, actually.
Smile, man, I need it.
Okay. Alright, well, my gosh, thanks, Shivadas. So like this. So never mess with the devotees. Always loving and respecting the devotees, and ultimately, this pastime highlights. It's really devotion to the Supreme Lord is the only thing to focus on. And all of our wealth, all of our other facilities in this material world should be used in that service. And in that spirit, we can always be eternally situated. Anything else, we might try and hold on. But he's going to take it. He'll slap it right out of your hand and you don't get to keep it. And then the last, Hiranyakashipu, it means gold and sexual pleasure. Kashipu is like soft bedding, but that's the implication. If we are attached to these things, if these are our driving forces, prepare for this to happen at some point. But if your driving forces are devotion unto the Lord, all the other things will get torn apart like this, and then you'll be situated here, serving the Lord and unscathed and happy and blissful. Even if your father were to just get killed right in front of you, like Prahlad. But actually, if you see his prayer, he asks for his father's forgiveness and things like this. And Narasimha actually, he guarantees that not only will your father be forgiven, any one of my pure devotees, 21 generations up and down, so 21, not up and down, 21 generations total will be completely liberated. So all it takes is one pure devotee in a whole lineage, and everyone, you do the greatest favor for all of your generations. What's that? Yes. No problem. But you'll do it too. No, you could have. Then you could go that 21st generation above you. You know, he couldn't reach. They'll get liberated. So that's a nice thing. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us for Narasimha. Yes.
I have a real life example.
Yes.
Of Narasimha protecting his devotees.
Yes.
So Bhakta Michael, myself, and Maharaj, they was protecting Maharaj because Bhakta Michael and I aren't there yet. But this car came flying up behind us, or beside us, cut us off. So I had to slam on the brakes. And just like, it couldn't have been more than a minute later. Like he cut us off and went, whoa, like flew it. He got pulled over.
Yes. Mike, I think you told me this.
Me.
Yes. So yeah, don't mess with the devotees. Your comeuppance will come very quickly. Like that's what we call insta karma. Yes. So yes, very good. Lord Narasimha.